You're listening to Wrestle Dope, the wrestling radio podcast, live on justin.tv every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and 8 p.m. GMT. Also on YouTube every week. The account, youtube.com/TheWrestleDope. Check out the videos if you have time. And indeed, all this stuff goes up there every week. And now, of course, the final match on this past Monday's TNA Impact with AJ Styles taking on the Pope. Now, I mean, really, I want to see much more of this type of match in future. These guys deserve a solo main event at the top of the card. Not so much the Team Flair v Team Hogan. I like that. It's sort of a Survivor Series match we haven't had in 10 years. It reminds me of the type of match that I would have loved to have seen on a Survivor Series 92 card, but with those new guys in there as well, so certainly benefits to that. But I think Flair involved in this has totally legitimized it, and indeed without his presence it just wouldn't all pull together, I don't think.
Yeah, I think generally he's just playing a blinder, and it's just amazing how you can put him in any situation, I think, and it works and it gets over, from promos to just pairing him with someone like AJ, having him present at the ring, even when you can hear him screaming from the wheelchair, and some of that stuff's hilarious. And all these promos in the wheelchair have been hilarious. They should keep him in it. But it legitimizes not only the build, but AJ, I think, as a serious player, and that kind of heel character that he's gone into. And I don't think you can do any wrong with Flair, and in any capacity, definitely.
Flair and Team Flair against Team Hogan. That, of course, on that pay-per-view coming up, which we will speak about next. We'll get to that in just a moment here on Wrestle Dope, and indeed more interaction with you, our live chatters. We certainly get modest viewing figures on the average Sunday night, and we're happy with anybody who comes in and listens here for a few minutes. It's no big deal. We do it for the fun of it, and indeed to try out the shoot videos on YouTube. I mean, everyone's got to do them at some stage, right?
Yeah, it's very true, yeah. And we appreciate, like Darren said, everybody coming in, even if it's 6 people, 10 people, 4 people. It doesn't really bother us either way. We just like to have fun with it, and we definitely like it, the feedback that you've sent, and to be able to interact over and back is always fun too. And stay tuned for tonight's show, because we've got some cool interactions coming up.
Yeah, indeed, some special things to come. Indeed, always trying to add to the program. Now, in just a moment, we are going to change the tape, and indeed, that will give us a bit more of a chance to interact with you directly while I get that tape out, and then we'll speak to you indeed in the comment section. If you have any particular questions you want us to speak about, we'll do that for a little bit, and then we will get on to speak about the lockdown card that's coming up tonight in St. Louis, and indeed this week's WWE NXT. We'll also give you a rundown of our thoughts on the Florida Championship Wrestling roster. We'll have a look at that website and take a look at some of the pictures, and indeed see who, even on look, we're impressed with, and indeed those people we haven't seen on TV recently, who we want to see back on FCW. And you know, we hope that somebody out there from FCW, at some point, the worker, the camera guy, somebody who makes the tea, has a look at these videos and maybe says to the office that there's people talking about FCW. We don't think our opinion worth any more than anyone else's, but we want those guys to know that FCW is a great show.
Yeah, FCW is one of the greatest shows that is in the current offerings from any of the products. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's kind of a developmental territory for WWE, where they have a weekly 1-hour show, and you'll see a lot of your NXT guys down there. And I'm sure if NXT rolls into a second season, if that's what they're calling it, then a lot of the current FCW guys will probably be pulled up for that. And it's just a fun show. The commentary is great, the matches are fun, there's little storylines going on. And while we're checking out